episode of Trusted Herd Live. I think this is episode lucky number 13.
Oh, awesome.
And we are so fortunate to have the president of Karma Casting, Kim Thompson, here today. Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me, and thanks for having me, Brian.
Yeah, my pleasure. So if anybody is new to what Trusted Herd Live is, if you're unaware, we have this little bit of a pause right now in the event industry, and we thought we would take advantage, and we know all of these company names out there because we apply to all these jobs, whether you're based in the US or in Canada, but at the end of the day, we don't know the story behind them or the people behind them, and each of those stories is really unique, so we thought it'd be an awesome opportunity for everyone to get to understand that a little bit more. If you like everything that you're hearing and everything going on, hit those like buttons below, hit the hearts below. Feel free to share this in your favorite group or on your page, and we'll get rolling. And then one last thing before we start jumping into the questions, if you have audience questions, put them in the comments, and we'll scroll through them all at the end, and we'll make sure Kim doesn't get out of here until she answers everyone last one of them.
I'm not going anywhere. I don't have any plans, Brian, so I think it's okay.
Good stuff. Well, Kim, let's start this episode and this Monday off by asking you something that has nothing to do with events. If you are not working at Karma Casting and you're not in the event world, what are your hobbies? What are you up to?
Okay, so I'm a mom, so that's I don't get a lot of time for a lot of other hobbies because I have two boys, 12 and 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I do have a husband as well too, and he's kind of like my third child half the time. But yeah, so they're very active. So I try to be active with them, quite honestly. So they are very involved in sports and things like that. So so we're doing a lot. We do ski racing as a family. Sorry, I don't race. I just do the skiing part. They race.
Okay.
We mountain bike together. We just get outside. They both play baseball too, so I'm actively involved in their sports as well too. And then for myself, I do yoga. Love to do yoga, but we're really outdoorsy, so we're just trying to get outside as much as possible. And right now that's so important just from a mental health and well-being standpoint. So we're really trying to get outside as much as we can. Yeah. Obviously, respecting all the physical distancing protocols as well too, but just trying to get out there, and now that especially the springtime's coming, we're getting some nice sunny weather up here as well too. So yeah, but that's pretty much it.
That's great. And to let everybody know, besides them watching you on their phone right now or their computer screen, where are you videoing in from today?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada. Very exciting. Yeah. Perfect. So let's jump in a little bit about Karma Casting and ask some questions and get some ideas of the story behind how it came to be. So just so everybody knows, Kevin founded Karma Casting, but Kim is the president, correct?
Yeah. Do you want me to tell that story?
You want to? Go ahead.
So I actually was not one of the founders. So I wasn't there at the very beginning of Karma, but I know the founders very well. So there was a group of 5 of them all together that founded it, and I worked. Kevin is our CEO. Deepak Bassi, they're the ones that are probably the most involved in the day-to-day at this time as well too. And I worked with them in a previous life at one of the other companies that Kevin had founded called Consumer Impact Marketing, which was another sales and marketing agency that was then sold to Mosaic, so years ago. So we had a history. Karma was started about 4 years ago, and I was actually a client of Karma. So I was one of their first clients, and so I used Karma, worked with them, obviously loved the company as a whole. And then about a year and a half ago, their business was growing. Karma's business was growing exponentially, and they approached me and asked me if I would come and take the reins and I was already a huge believer in the business, being a client, loved what they were doing, and I just jumped at the chance to get involved. So
Amazing. All right. So we'll jump into that story in a little bit. I mean, for everybody watching right now who might be a little unfamiliar with karma casting, and if I didn't know anything about karma casting then, how would you explain it to me?
Yeah, so I basically say that we're a people first company. So that is our mantra, people first. We're a people first company, basically using our own technology platform to connect clients, brands, with the fantastic talent and brand ambassadors that want to represent them. So we've disrupted the industry really with our solution and the talent marketplace that we've been able to deliver, and really that focus on technology and on the talent. So we've basically developed a solution that just really makes it easy for our talent to find and apply for gigs. We treat our talent with a lot of respect. We pay them well, which is important, and we pay them quickly. We pay them within 72 hours. So as a result, we're able to deliver, outstanding results for our clients. We have a 99% execution rate, and we deliver huge scale and efficiency across lots of different businesses.
That's amazing. And so if I'm hearing you right, Karma Casting isn't just a staffing agency, right? You guys are actually a tech platform as well.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely. Yeah, we have a whole in-house development team. And that has been a heavy focus for us, obviously. As we launched the business, was just really leveraging technology to essentially disrupt, the XM staffing industry as a whole, and really come up with a unique solution for everybody involved.
Yeah, I love that, because so many times you get staffing agencies who start out and then they grow and then they decide, hey, either we can do a subscription to a staffing platform, a workforce management platform, or why don't we try to build our own? And if I know anything about software from Trusted Herd, you just can't build a platform and spend 20K and that's done. It's like living, breathing, always evolving, always growing. And so that is really cool and unique that Karma Casting has that in-house, because it's such an advantage to probably making the whole system very efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I really look at our business almost as two different businesses. Like, we essentially have our development team and, they're building the tech platform. And then we have our staffing agency that uses the tech platform. But it's really great to see them constantly working together, and the dialogue that comes between the two parties, for sure, because they're constantly, our client experience team and our team of talent producers are constantly feeding feedback, that we're either getting from our clients or from the talent directly to our product engineering team, that are continually enhancing and adding new features to the platform as a whole.
And that is so critical. And I've actually been to Karma's office in Toronto. So I got to meet the entire team last summer. And I mean, seriously, like, the staffing team is all in one section, and a throw away are all the developers. So, as the staffing coordinators experience things within the app, and I'm sure workers as well, you don't have to play telephone to get to a developer, or telephone to get to whatever platform is running your business, which makes that really awesome for Karma and everybody involved. Cool. So we got the intro of what Karma is. Tell me, Kim, what type of work were you doing before you got into the event?
I was a university student, so I basically got into events right after university. So I graduated university and saw a really cool, unique opportunity to get into events, and I just haven't looked back. And actually, the whole founding team as well too. I mean, as I said before, we were basically all at a different company called Consumer Impact Marketing, which was, again, another sales. It was a little bit, we did more of sales and merchandising work, but then we also had an XM division as well too, and that's really what we were involved in. And so it's been pretty much in my blood for a long time.
Yeah. When you went to university, were you studying anything to do with marketing or events or anything like that?
No, I was a political studies major. So I had designs on going to law school. I actually got accepted to law school, and I just couldn't see myself doing another 4 years of school. So I was like, Get me out of here.
Yeah. Do you remember after university, or maybe it was in university, your first experience in the world of event marketing?
Yes, it was awesome. Actually, so I hadn't really heard of event marketing or XM or anything at university, and I happened to see an ad in a paper. So this is how old I am and how long ago that was, because it was actually a paper-based ad. And it was for a company that was running this huge event called Campus Fest. And basically, there was a team of us. There was about 20 of us. I think we were all just recently graduated from university, and banded together. And we went and did a tour. And I happened to be on the West Coast team, so we did a tour of for about 10 weeks on the road to all the different university campuses in Western Canada. And we would go and set up a big 3-day event. It was huge. There was a stage with a DJ, fashion shows, inflatable courses, tents, with free product and games and everything else. And it was a blast. So, and I actually met my husband on that tour. So.
The a story that's so familiar in the world of experiential marketing, right? I mean, always bringing consumers together and relationships together.
Yeah.
That sounds like an incredible first experience, really, in the world of event marketing. Doing a tour. I know a lot of brand ambassadors, they work many events to try to get to, market manager, or to get an opportunity to go on the tour. Did that opportunity just kind of fall in your lap, or did you have a connection?
Yeah. No, I just literally replied, sent in my application for it, went in for the interview, and there you go. Got on the team, and it was great. So definitely had at the same time, I mean, we had a great time just touring. At that point in time, I hadn't actually been to Western Canada and explored, so it was such an awesome way to go and explore my country, and because we worked really hard the days that we were working, but then we also had great a good amount of downtime in between our events, and just had a blast. So it was great.
It's one of my favorite things in the world of event marketing is if you do have the opportunity to travel, especially younger, not as much anymore because I also have a family, but it's an incredible way to see your country. I mean, there's a brand or a product or a service that's paying for you to literally go out, interact and engage at events, and then have fun at the same time. All the corners. So
especially the group of people too. I mean, it's similar people, right, that become, that are working in the industry, and whether they're brand ambassadors or managers, but same, great, usually outgoing personalities and things like that too. And so some of those people are still, obviously I mentioned my husband, but I'm still friends with a number of people from that team, which is pretty cool.
That is really nice. So if you're just joining us right now, we're here with Kim Thompson, the president of Karma Casting out of Toronto. They do a ton of events up in Canada, and we'll get a little bit more to that, but they also do some events here in the US, which is also very exciting. So if you do have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section. We'll do audience questions at the end here. Got a ton of people watching. Sonia, Bridget, Ton, Max, Deepak, Michelle, hello. So let's see here. We got your first experience in the world of event marketing. I guess at what point did Kevin and kind of the other co-founders say, hey, we think we want to start this company called Karma Casting?
Yeah. So as I said, I wasn't there at the infancy of the business, but it really, they realized that there was a huge opportunity in the marketplace. One of our founders is Deepak Bassi, and he was king of going. He spent a lot of time he saw an opportunity for tech to be involved, in the staffing space. But also he was just really, he's always been a field focused guy and really looking at, the people that are working, for us in the field. So he spent a lot of time talking to brand ambassadors, also looking at all the Facebook groups and brand ambassador groups and looking at the comments of what people were posting in there. And he really sensed that there was a ton of frustration that existed within those groups. And you feel the same way too. I know we've had this conversation before too, Brian. So he realized that there was a lot of things that they were looking for that they weren't getting, right? So they wanted flexibility. They wanted to find, have it easier to find and get gigs and understand what they were supposed to be doing on them. They definitely wanted to be more fairly compensated as well too for the work that they were doing, and they certainly wanted to get paid in a more timely manner. So a lot of them, had huge frustrations with working, 1 8-hour gig and then waiting 5 months, 6 months, sometimes longer to get paid for that, right? So, so just realize that, hey, there's an opportunity to treat people better here. We could probably figure it out with a tech-based solution that would put us in a better position to address their needs, right? So. So that was really what, how the platform came to be. And then we realized that if we do that, if we treat those people well and treat them right, then we're going to attract the best people to our organization, which in turn, we're going to get the best results and deliver the best experiences for our clients. So, which will then ultimately make us successful as well.
For sure. And so it kind of leads into the next question, which is one of my favorite ones, but what you just said all of a sudden makes a lot of sense. Where did the name Karma Casting come from?
So the person that actually named it is our CEO, Kevin, who you mentioned before, his daughter, Riley. So she was, I think, has observed and listened to some of the the founders when they were talking about kind of why, what we can be doing and how we can approach things differently. And really it's all about, what you put into the world is what you get out of it. And that's karma, right? So that is karma. And, you give people what you want, and then you're going to get, in return, you're going to get what you want. So it's as simple as that. And really, that just makes sense. So, so she actually thought of it. She put the whole string together, but that really was the genesis of the name.
Yeah, very nice. And then how about the logo? Did the logo come from anywhere special?
Well, it came from our CMO, Lisbeth. So knowing that we wanted to be a tech-based platform, we definitely wanted to have a logo that would show up well as an icon on, on smartphone screens and things like that. So that's really why it's very simple, that way. And the color, obviously green, very eye-catching and draws attention to it. The petal shape is really coming about, again, about the notion of people and growing our family tree and everybody being part of, the Karma family. And that's really where that came from.
Yeah, that's excellent. And there's so many answers of logos. I mean, everyone gets from different spots, right? But the reasoning is always really interesting. And you do have to think that marketing mind of where is this going to be? How is it best going to show up? Is it going to be attractive? And when you are also a tech platform and you have an app, that just makes a little sense. So how about, this is actually going to be kind of a two-part question. One, do you remember, not your first experience, but do you remember Karma's first experience of their first client?
Yeah, so I had to go back in the archives for this one, but I did ask around. But apparently it was actually an XM agency, so Match Marketing, and they're both in Canada and in the US, but we worked with them in Canada, and it was a very simple execution. It was 3 promotional ambassadors to work at a golf tournament, and they had a very specific profile. We, knocked it out of the park and totally delivered, and they were thrilled with both the quality of the people and how well it was executed.
Yeah, that's excellent. And so, real quick, Kim, was the app live immediately when Karma Casting launched?
No, it was not. Not entirely. But I mean, really, it was about the approach to it was definitely there, right? So, and how we wanted to approach it. So we really started. There was elements of it that were in place, but not necessarily all the features were completely, in place. And certainly, it was. We've been just building it alongside of the staffing agency side of the business.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. All right, so we have a first client. How about yourself? When did your first involvement as a client happen with Karma Casting?
Yeah, so it wasn't too far after that, I think. So I know that Kevin and Deepak came and presented to me at the company that I was with, which was a company called Crossmark. And I was like, this is awesome,
Yeah,
and we had a ton of pain points. So we were, from client side, we were having all these issues, especially specifically on one side of the business, which was a grocery demo type of program, and just could not retain people.
yeah,
We couldn't get people in a lot of the different markets.
yeah,
Profile was not hitting the mark. And honestly, our execution rate was, probably between 75 to 80%. Like, it was not in a good spot.
yeah,
And so we realized that if we used Karma, to execute that program and to augment our existing um, uh, level of staffing that we were doing, that we would be able to deliver against our clients' needs. So
yeah.
yeah. So,
Okay.
and I'm told that that was really where Karma then too started really becoming, knowing that they had a good thing going, because we had really ongoing business and we were working with them on a weekly basis. So it wasn't
Yeah,
just kind of a one-time project. It was
sure.
regular business for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Great. Well, you also just answered the next question, which was, at what moment, right, do things kind of start picking up? And it sounds like that was a huge opportunity. Um, let's see here. I'm going to shift a little bit more to the team, because I've also met your team. I've met your staff
Yeah.
coordinators, your tech people, met Deepak, I've met Kevin. Wonderful, wonderful people. Can you tell us about that team and maybe what you most appreciate about them?
Yeah, the team's amazing. First of all, so obviously we've got our leadership team, and then as I mentioned before, we kind of had like this client experience group, and then our product engineering. And you can imagine, you have people that are client facing, and then you have people that are, are developers, and very different personalities, right? But what they all have in common is that they're super passionate about our business and where we're headed as a company. They're deeply committed to making our business successful as a whole. And they really recognize the importance of relationships. So the relationships that we have with our clients and the relationships that we have with our talent. So, our client experience team is constantly working with our clients to understand what can we do better, how do we go above and beyond. Even our product engineering team is engaging with our talent, right? We do talent user experience, focus groups. We ran a series of those last year just to understand how the talent is interacting with our tech platform and our app,
Yeah,
and how do we improve that for them. And what both of them also, like what everybody on the team also agrees with, is that this and understands is that our industry is not 9 to 5. It's not, 5 days a week. And they're on, I don't have to even ask. That's just kind of in their DNA. And
yeah,
I'm super appreciative of that.
yeah,
And they're also willing to support one another at a moment's notice too. So they will certainly jump in
yeah.
as well too.
Speaking of your client experience team, so based in Toronto, you do a ton of staffing all throughout Canada, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then also you guys do a little bit of stuff here in the US, right?
Yep. Yep. They have. Absolutely.
Excellent. Um, very, very cool. How about shifting gears a little bit, Kim? Like, sounds like since university you've kind of moved up in the ranks and you've gone along the path of event marketing, and here you are as president of Karma Casting. Do you feel like you have some certain habits or intangibles that have helped you like get to where you're at today?
Hopefully good habits. Yeah. So, I mean, I think a big thing, one of the big things is that I find that I'm very resourceful, so I will always find a way, right?
Yeah,
So, a way to get things done or to do it might always not be perfect right out of the gate, but it's just, or you find yourself in a situation and just manage to figure out, how to get through it,
yeah,
and knowing who to contact and stuff too. And I'm constantly just on the lookout for opportunities as well too. I'd say another big thing is that I'm persistent. So I will continually follow up with people where I need to, And I think another thing that is really important is never burning a bridge. So you never know where somebody's going to end up at some point.
Mhm.
Again, I've interacted. I've been at a few different organizations and managed a lot of people. And now a lot of those people are my clients, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I worked well with them, I treated them well when I was managing them. They want to work with me now, right? They want
Yeah.
to be a client. And I think that's really, don't necessarily know if that's a habit, but that's just, something that, how I've approached the business world as well.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit about this on the phone earlier, is that in light of everything going on, and it's unfortunate that, at least here in the States, people are getting furloughed and unfortunately getting laid off, but they're going to end up somewhere again, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if it's not at the original company, it's going to be at a new brand. And when they get there and they're in that position of an event marketer or marketing manager experience, they're going to lean on those vendors who they know, right?
Yeah.
So that is why it's important to stay close to all of the people that you know and keep an open relationship, and two ways. Um, let's see here. Anything, Kim, that you would have told your younger self, like when you were on that tour on the west coast of Canada? Like, hey, if you
Yeah,
maybe
don't marry that guy. No.
that
I'm
that maybe you would accelerate your path a little bit quicker.
Well, actually, one of my things was, be patient, because I was never a patient person when I was younger. I'd get easily frustrated, right, if things didn't happen right away.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to, be patient. The right opportunity will come. It's about being prepared for that right opportunity. I think another big thing is don't be afraid to ask for help. I always felt that my view at that point in time was that it was a sign of weakness if I said that I couldn't do something, right? So
Yeah.
I would always say, "Oh, I got it, right?" And then
Yeah.
that's when I would drown. I'm not saying that it was necessarily a detriment, but it definitely, was probably more from a mental standpoint,
Sure.
that I would, you know, uh, not approach things in the right way. So I think it's important to ask for help. Look for those people. Look for those people that could potentially be a mentor for you, that you can bounce ideas off of, too, that might not, be aware of everybody that you're, in the day to day with, but they're a
Yeah.
good outside person that you can contact, as well too.
Yeah.
And I think, on that same line of thinking, I think it's okay to fail, just as long as you learn from it, right? So, try new things, go after different things. And I've definitely learned that. I think that I was maybe a little hesitant to do some of those things when I was younger, and now I think it's just go for it, right? So,
Yeah.
and yeah, all you can do is learn from it.
Those are all really, really good things. I think for me, I can relate to the asking for help thing.
Mm-hmm.
Being very prideful and wanting to figure it out on your own
Yeah.
is certainly a good trait to have. But how often, if you just would have asked for help or put yourself out there a little bit more, whether that's to your superiors or your peers, how much faster you maybe get to that line. Uh,
Exactly.
right. So,
Yeah.
how about this, Kim? Because, and I'm looking at all the comments as they're flying in here about
Yeah, I've seen them all.
people raving about the Karma app, which is amazing. It's about to be great to read. Uh, would you have advice for any workers, just in general, event workers? Not necessarily like the moment we're in right now, but altogether.
Yeah. Yeah. I think preparation is key, right? So I mean, for sure, deliver with passion every single time, right? So like you need to make sure that every interaction and experience, that you deliver is it counts, right? So I think that's extremely important, and that's certainly what we look for as well too. I also think it's important that if you're out there and if you're unsure of something, reach out and ask. So it's kind of along the same lines of thinking that I just mentioned as well too, right?
Yeah.
Ask for help. But it's much better. Don't always just assume something. Please reach out and ask for help with something.
Yeah.
And I think be transparent, be honest. If something happened that was less than ideal, it's rather we'd rather that you reach out and talk to us about it.
Yeah.
And it's much better than finding out after the fact as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Next question here, and it seems like since we started this, Karma Casting has already picked up 3 new workers in your database, because
Yay.
it seems very easy. But if people really like what they're hearing and they like the story of Karma Casting, and being not just in Canada but in the U.S., when things come back to life, where can I come work for you? How do I get in touch? What do I do?
Oh, awesome. So very easy. You just go and download our app. So you can go on the Apple App Store, you can go on Google Play. They're both right there. Just search up Karma Casting, and you can download the app. And it's super easy. You fill out your profile. We do ask a lot of questions, but that's because we really want to make sure it's very targeted, that we find the right gigs that are for you.
Yeah.
And encourage you to do certifications as well too, and anything else to really amp up your profile. We're also in the process right now of working on additional training. During this time, it's a great opportunity for everybody to up their skills. So we're working through a whole series of training modules as well too, that will really help all the different talent out there improve their skills and experience in different areas as well too.
That is amazing. And I've been in the app. I really enjoy it. It is easy to use, which is always nice, because I also don't think that, one of the things when I started Trusted Herd that I noticed is there was a lot of complaining from workers about, oh my gosh, this app just doesn't work. It crashes all the time, or I can't get stuff done. And it's such an opportunity and I'm sure this is what Kevin and Deepak and the team saw, that that just wasn't out there. And so, it almost became this thing. I remember when we launched Trusted Herds app, I was very nervous about it, because event workers immediately have this mindset of, this thing will not work and I'm going to be frustrated at it. And when you're doing an event, that's the last thing you want to worry about, is uploading a recap or pictures or checking in. So I can appreciate that, and I'm sure many of your users do.
And I mean, knock on wood, we've not had our app go down or anything like that. And I think it's important to tell everybody as well too that everything is done in the app. So even invoicing, everything is done through our app. So it's basically a one-stop shop. And again, making it really easy for everybody involved.
Super. Kim, let's see here. A piece of advice for somebody who maybe is thinking about starting a business right now. And it could be an event business, it could be anything, because we're in this moment where people are reevaluating what's going on. Did they really love doing something before? Do they want to do something in the future that makes them happy? Would you have a piece of advice for anybody?
Yeah, go for it. So, I mean, no, I think there's a couple of different things. I think, if you're going to go for it, go all in, right? Like being 100% into it, 110%. You're going to have to give your all. You're going to have to do a lot of hard work and put a lot of time and effort in. I think, if possible, if it makes sense, secure the right people. So surround yourself with a great team of people. And you can see, obviously, that's what we've done with Karma, where we've gotten this great, group of founders of the leadership team. And it wasn't just one person, there was a team of 5. I've been kind of invited to the party and having a good time with it. I think, especially in this time, right? I think be prepared to change, right? So maybe what you might have initially set out to do with your company or with your organization or whatever business opportunity you're looking at, be prepared to change, right? It's, being nimble, being flexible, I think are key. And you're going to constantly have to be, evaluating your business, right? So, the business that you were yesterday might not be the business that you are tomorrow, and that might be okay, because you might be better, right? And that's certainly what we're looking at this as far as this opportunity, right? To how do we get better? But not necessarily pivoting completely away from what we do best, because we know where our strengths are and we look at our strengths and we're looking at how do we leverage those as the market changes.
Yeah, it's all really good stuff here. So we have a Bridget downloaded the app. She's a big fan of the quote in there: "The river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence."
Nice.
Love this on your app. I do want to use this opportunity to maybe plug, and we're towards the end of the interview here, so I know Deepak's been answering questions as he's gone.
Thanks, back.
But if anybody does have any other questions, feel free to drop them in here, and we'll ask him. Karma, you guys are pretty active on social media, and for anyone who wants to follow, what is the account on Instagram?
It's just Karma Casting.
Karma Casting. There was a picture, I think, that was posted last week about mental health. I really enjoyed. I think there's a lot of staffing agencies that just maybe have, posting of pictures from past events, which is great, right? And you're showing off your clients. But I do like that seems to be this a little bit of a human element, right? To Karma's social.
Yeah, and that is, we have a great creative guy that we use, and he helps us. We kind of drive his priorities and stuff like that as well too. But I mean, it's really the onset of Karma as well too. It goes back to our logo, and it goes back to our CMO when she initially designed it as well too. Is that we want to be different out there. We want to be a little fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We obviously take the business seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And you see that come through in our social media, and I think that's really important. And it's really important for us. We know some clients follow us on social media, but a lot of it is the talent, and we feel it's so important to kind of keep them engaged. And we know we don't have a lot going on. We're not putting out casting calls right now and things like that on social media, but it's really important for us to still be talking and engaging with everybody out there. So.
Yeah. There was, Kim, speaking of that social media graphic, I did see another one from a few weeks ago, and I don't want to put you on the spot in terms of do you remember the exact numbers? But can you give an idea to everybody watching, especially here in the States, who might not necessarily be familiar with Karma Casting, the scope or the size of the kind of your network and your programs and everything? Any given time in a week, how many people might be working in the field? Number of clients, all that stuff, because I think those are really powerful numbers for Karma.
Yeah. So we're deploying anywhere. I mean, typically an average week, we're deploying thousands of people, in the field. We have a lot of messaging coming out from our app as well too. So as far as the communication points that we send to everybody, so I think probably one of the stats that you saw was in our infographic, and I think on average we're sending out 150,000 SMS messages, on a monthly basis, on a month, and that's just the communication going out there. But we're literally executing hundreds of thousands of hours on an annual basis, typically in a standard year, and deploying thousands of people every week to lots of different gigs out there. So
it's amazing, and it really speaks to, again, it goes back to that app that you have, right? Because I saw your team. I can tell you guys, going into Karma's office, there are not hundreds of people in there, right? I mean, it's, how many people are on the Karma team altogether?
So we have about 20 altogether, if you count all the different people. But they are, again, the app enables us to be incredibly efficient in how we manage the business. Absolutely. And lots of different types of work as well too, right? So we do, large events, trade shows, but we also do, demos and in-store activities and things like that as well too. So it really, wherever the client has a need for something that, involves deploying people, we can typically match it. And, so even, we're looking for all different types of people to go out there and execute on our path. So.
Yeah, excellent. Well, because Deepak is the man and was going through it and also working, I should have invited him on screen too. I guess, is there any, first off, thank you so much for taking time out of your Monday to join us and share the story of Karma. Is there anything that you'd like to leave? We've talked about, where people can find you and download the app and iOS and Android. Anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, I think I think some questions just around, how much are we doing it? I mean, we definitely are a Canadian built business, right? We have been coming into the US and executing, but not as much as we do. Obviously, we still have the majority of our execution in Canada. We are planning to expand, quite a bit in the US. And, obviously, current environment is not ideal for doing so, but we certainly, that is part of our plans, for 2020, hopefully, or into 2021 as well too. So huge for us. But yeah, I think it's more about, we are all in this together right now. We really want to support. We're looking at all the different, aspects of, what can be happening, within the XM industry as a whole, especially with respect to people. And we're really working with a lot of other industry leaders as well too, to try to understand, what's going on out there, and so that we can bring the best opportunities, forward to the talent, because we really look at ourselves too as being an advocate for the talent as well. So I'd say, everybody, it's, we're taking this time to kind of, dust off everything in our toolkit, and making sure that we're, cleaning up our app and doing all these things as well, and processes and stuff like that. And I encourage everybody to do the same, with their profile. Take any training opportunity right now as well too, just to really, make sure that we're all ready to go, because we know it's going to come back. People are social animals. People are going to want to have those great interactions again, and we want to make sure that we're all ready for it.
We're all ready for it. And I actually, you mentioned this way earlier in the interview, but can't stress this enough. Karma pays within 72 hours. Is that right?
Yeah.
Everybody,
yes,
72 hours. Go sign up. Go get the app. Kim, thank you so much for being here again. Absolute pleasure always seeing you, always talking. For everybody else, this is a great week for Trusted Herd Live. Not that every week isn't great. Tomorrow we have a birthday on Trusted Herd Live with Fritz Heffinger of a experiential and fabricating shop called Out Cold Marketing here in Chicago. Let's see, Wednesday we got Lauren Raimondi with All Aces Promotional Staffing out of New York. Thursday we got Shelly Justice with CMT. And then Friday we have Turnkey, DOT, and Brian Moore. So action-packed week. These have been a ton of fun. We'll distribute them and share them. If you enjoy what you see, share it anywhere, like it. But again, that is episode number 13 with Karma Casting and Kim Thompson. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Brian.
All right.